You need desire. You need want. We play with that passion. We play together. We play for each other. And we play to win. We are Notre Dame.
Yes, it's time for the Notre Dame Reports. My great pleasure to welcome to the programme, as always, around about this time, Len Clark. Len, welcome to the programme.
Good afternoon, and once again, here by Indiana Dunes Tourism. If you're coming over to the United States or in the Chicago area, make a trip over to the University of Evansville, extend your stay, and visit the newest national park in the United States at IndianaDunes.com. And Declan, it is my great pleasure to reintroduce to the program on the ball the athletic director at the University of Notre Dame, Mr. Jack Swarbrick.
Jack, welcome to the program.
It's great to be with you. I'm busy trying to find a copy of Christmas in the Cookhouse that I can download.
Okay, Hot Press on the Silent Nights is the artist. You probably find it on YouTube.
I'll get it.
Okay. Now, Hot Press is a music magazine, and they used to do these novelty records for Christmas on a kind of an ongoing basis about 20, 30 years ago.
Well, that one caught my attention.
Yeah. I played one last week by them called Born to Roast, which is kind of like a tribute in a sort of way to Bruce Springsteen.
One of my favorites.
Now, Jack, welcome to the programme. These are busy times, of course. We know that Notre Dame are going to be in a bowl game on December 28th in Florida, and we know they're going to be playing Iowa State. I'm sure there's a lot of preparations need to be done ahead of time, but you're busy on all fronts because you've got a very busy athletics programme there covering a lot of different sports, and you've lots of teams in action and individual athletes in action in collegiate sports right across the whole spectrum.
That's right. We have 26 sports. This is an especially busy time because the fall sports finish up, like football and the bowl game. But we had a big hockey win last night against Penn State. We had a big basketball win against UCLA yesterday. So there's always activity. And
all that has to be catered for in terms of organising travel and what have you, particularly because it's a huge undertaking to take on a university sport in the United States, given the distances involved.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we have about 720 student athletes, 26 sports. So we've got teams flying coast to coast. We have to arrange those schedules so they don't miss class. So logistically, it's very complicated.
Declan, if we can use the analogy, Jack is like the CEO of athletics at the University of Notre Dame. He's got a great staff that helps coordinate a lot of those activities. And Jack, if you will, just talk about the support staff that you have, especially those that made this phone call possible.
Well, that's right. We're very proud of the fact that we produce a lot of content through a division called Fighting Irish Media. And we want to tell the stories of these remarkable students who are part of our program, and they produce all the video content. They do game production, so that's part of our business. And then we have a medical staff, of course. We have strength and conditioning staffs. We have nutritionists. It's a big complement of people who make it all work.
And of course, that media content would be extremely important for you guys as well as you try to attract sponsors to your scholarship programs.
It's a little bit about sponsorship, but it's more about we feel a real obligation to tell the story of our students. They're remarkably talented young people. They're full-time students. They're pursuing degrees at one of America's most rigorous institutions. At the same time, they're elite athletes. Their days start at 6 a.m. and don't end till late at night, and they figure out a way to get it all in.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable, and certainly they could teach the rest of us a thing or two about work-life balance.
Yeah, unfortunately, they've been completely unsuccessful with me, so I hope they can teach other people. I never seem to find that balance.
Well, Declan, I can say that Jack Swarbrick is one of the most visible athletic directors in the country. As he said yesterday, a very busy day. He was at the basketball game. I had a chance to just briefly talk with him after the UCLA win, and then he was off to hockey. And Jack, that was really not a busy day yesterday compared to some other days, but kind of give us a breakdown like to be the athletic director at the University of Notre Dame?
Yeah, it's a great question because our model's a little different. We want to make sure that athletics is really part of the school. So a lot of my day will be involved in university meetings on topics that may not have anything to do with athletics. It's just about how the university is operated and run. I always try and spend time with our students during the day, so I'll get to one or more practices. There are competitions to watch, staff meetings to host. But the biggest focus is, are we delivering on our promise to give the students a great experience, and trying to make sure all of those pieces of that are operating well. And yesterday I met several prospective student athletes, young men who in this case were thinking about playing football for Notre Dame. They were in for our big end-of-the-year football celebration, and so I get a chance to meet with those families and talk a little bit about why Notre Dame might be right for them.
Len, at this point, I was just going to ask a question. I mean, it's Jack seems to have the same kind of enthusiasm for the sports, a multitude of sports that I do. Yesterday, I was at a field hockey game watching the university men's team play. They play in the, shall we say, what you'd call the major leagues back here in Ireland, and our basketball team, which is it's a 50% a basketball club that's outside, and also 50% a university club. They also play in the majors here. So if you could imagine Notre Dame playing in the NBA, it's kind of like the Irish equivalent of that.
Well, that's a trait that you and Jack both share, is real passion for what you do. And that's just, I think a lot of it stems is that Jack is a graduate of the University of Notre Dame, and fortunately I have a degree from there as well. And so there's a little bit more of a special emphasis when you go to the job every day because it's part of your DNA. And he's been there for 12 years. And so, Jack, tell us how you've grown as an athletic director and how things have changed over the past 12 years.
Oh, my goodness. The rate of change in college athletics is hard to imagine. There's a lot of discussion in this country about what the relationship between the student and the university should be. What should the model for the benefits to the student look like? We're in a big discussion now about whether athletes should be able to capture the commercial value of their name and presence, whether they should be able to do sponsorships. And the facility evolution, we have built a new facility for almost every sport in 12 years. It's just incredibly competitive. It's years ago, maybe a tenth of our events were broadcast. Now, virtually every one of them is on television. So the industry just continues to evolve and grow at a record pace.
Well, and one of the things that has really grown is the presence of Notre Dame on an international level. Back in 2012, you were in Dublin, and you're returning again, which is very exciting for not only the University of Notre Dame program, but for everybody in Dublin and Dublin City FM. And Declan was there to learn about tailgating back in 2012. And what can individuals in Dublin expect different this time as opposed to back in 2012?
Well, I hope it's bigger and better. We had such a great time last time. We travel a lot. We're the only school ever to play in Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York in the same year, and we've done that 9 times now. We do that more than any other school. But I don't know that any experience has quite matched the experience of going to Ireland. We were so warmly embraced. The activities, the celebrations, the tailgating, the game itself. It was just the best reception, and we were eager to find time to get back, and we're glad we could find a way in our schedule to get it done, and we are really looking forward to it.
Well, we're looking forward to having you here in Dublin as well, and it's going to be a great way to kick off our coverage of the Fighting Irish in 2020.
Yeah, well, we think it's going to be a great year. Of course, we went on to a great year the last time we played there, and we hope this is the start of another great one. We're very pleased with this year, 10-2, really strong performance. Headed to a very good bowl game, but this team is poised to do even more, and we think kicking off the year in Dublin, in front of those passionate fans, is a great way to start what we hope will be a very successful season. We'll also play in an iconic venue here in the United States, Lambeau Field, where the Green Bay Packers play. We'll be in California again. It's a full year, full schedule.
And you can't pick a better opponent than the Naval Academy to play the game in Dublin. And I know Declan has been hit with many questions. Our growing audience in Dublin has been reaching out to me as well, and the Irish fans want to know, how will they be able to get tickets to Aviva Stadium to watch the first college football game in the 2020 season, Notre Dame and Navy?
Well, I don't have the specific details, unfortunately. My ticket folks are better at that. But I know we were careful to make sure in setting up the ticketing there. Obviously, Navy has a complement of tickets. We have a complement of tickets. There was a group of tickets reserved for travel packages from the United States, because creating tourism is a big part of that. And then there'll be a fourth element of tickets available for public sale in Dublin. I don't know the specifics of when those are on sale.
But we can say to follow Fighting Irish digital media and the University of Notre Dame athletics program at UND.com. And that information, Declan, would be posted throughout the next couple of months to keep people updated on how they can secure a ticket for the football game.
Well, as long as that information is made available to us, we're prepared to share it with the public. No problem whatsoever. Delighted to do so. As you said, Len, I've had a few queries to me personally about how to get tickets for this game. Athletes who play other sports are eager to see the Fighting Irish do their thing in Dublin.
Jack, will there be anything? I know it was really catered toward the American experience over there, learning about the Irish, but has there been any discussion about kind of teaching the game of football to a growing football population in Dublin? As Declan has pointed out, that there is a Gaelic gridiron league that plays American football, and especially a lot of females are wanting to learn more about the game. Will there be any X's and O's to kind of teach the game of football to the typical Dubliner?
Well, we haven't had a discussion about that, but that sounds like a great idea. We do a version of that at our own home games, and we love having those sessions where we talk about the game. You know, our footprint is growing. Our most valuable player on our football team this year, we just honored him on Friday night, is from Canada. In our incoming class, we have a young man from Europe. So talent is found everywhere, and the interest in football, sort of fostered by the NFL's movement into other countries, is really growing. So I think it's a great idea. Let's find a way to do it.
And Jack, you just mentioned Declan's favorite player, Chase Claypool. Declan,
yes.
You have a little affiliation with Canada, and I know you've been, every week when we talk, you always want to find out how Chase.
Yeah, I lived in Canada for 6 years, Jack. I lived in Montreal. It's the other side of the country from where Chase is from, but nevertheless, you know, it's right. Canada still has its place in my affections.
Well, and he's a special young man. I've not been around anybody who works harder than Chase. He is as driven and competitive on the practice field and on the game field as anyone I've been around, and that's what turned him into a great athlete. He's got a very bright future in the NFL. And he's a great Notre Dame representative. He's got his degree. He's a great athlete, but more importantly, just a great person, a great citizen. Represents Canada and Notre Dame incredibly well.
And Declan, what's really been emphasized over the tenure of Coach Brian Kelly with the football team and Jack Swarbrick, is that it's not a 4-year commitment at Notre Dame. It's a 40-year life commitment because it's more than just football at the University of Notre Dame. And so they recruit individuals not only to play the game of football, but for life, and that's something unique as far as the University of Notre Dame goes.
Yeah,
we take that very seriously.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, one of the great things about the American university experience is the fact that people buy into the college thing completely, and you've got fans for life after they graduate, and that's something that's kind of unknown over here, and I think it's something we could learn from.
It's a very unique model. I mean, the American collegiate model doesn't exist anywhere else. Most of the rest of the world goes into a club system for elite-level sports, independent of the academic system, and we've chosen to combine it, and I think it's a great model. And I should say, take the opportunity in this broadcast to say, I hope the fans in Ireland listening to this will find time to come over and visit us for a game. Take time on a trip to the United States to line it up with a Notre Dame football game. It is an absolutely unique experience. When you're on campus, you'll be able to see some other sports play as well. And if you haven't done it, I hope you will.
And that's something we've really pushed with the sponsorship of Indiana Jones, is telling people to come over and extend their trip to the Chicago area or any other place in the United States and visit the University of Notre Dame, in addition to the nation's newest national park. But, Jack, there's also been a new introduction over the past couple of years that might be of interest for Irish listeners, is the introduction of club sport to football and hurling on campus.
Yeah. It's we used an opportunity several years ago to bring over some of the best players to demonstrate it for us, and it spurred a local interest. So now there is a group of students who pursue that activity. They do it as a club rather than a varsity sport, but we love it when we get opportunities to give our students a chance to learn other sports and get proficient at them.
Yeah, well, hurling is...
sounds like an opportunity.
I was going to say, hurling would be something that people familiar with lacrosse could probably adapt to reasonably quickly.
Yeah, in fact, we used our lacrosse field for the demonstration. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now,
what's next for the University of Notre Dame? What's next? I mean, you've accomplished a lot of things over the past couple of years with the Crossroads project, and it's other than getting more national championships, what do you see the vision for the University of Notre Dame to continue to have a global presence and to be a leader in college athletics?
Well, there'll always be facility needs. It's just the nature of having 26 sports. But our real focus is twofold. One is we want to continue to get better at the sports sciences, the science of recovery, of analytics, of nutrition. Those are the real difference makers competitively now. And we're pretty good at them, but we need to get a lot better. And so we're investing in those areas of sports science, which are so important to us. And then next, we do want to help lead the national discussion going on in this country about what college sports will look like in the future. This is a very fluid time, and it's important for Notre Dame to have a strong voice in that. So those are the two things we're focused on right now.
And Declan, that really ties in well with Ireland, because Ireland is really a leader in sports sciences when you take a look down in the Galway area and what they're doing at the University of Galway, the national university.
Yes, and indeed, if you see what's taking place in places like UCD as well, where the Leinster professional rugby union team is headquartered, and indeed many of the gym facilities are used by the international players from the field hockey team as well. There's state-of-the-art stuff taking place here as well. But I was just going to say to Jack, and I'm sure, Len, you can refresh my memory on this, there's going to be a special connection between the 2020 Notre Dame team and the city of Dublin, because one of the kids in the roster, his father went to high school in Dublin.
That's right. J.D. Bertram's father played rugby at Blackrock, which is a very well-known school in Dublin, and J.D. has been learning the game of football, playing behind some of the leaders, but he's going to be a force next year, and there's a little added incentive, Jack, with J.D. and his family coming over to Dublin once again to kind of visit the home roots, and I know that will be an honor for that young man to play at Aviva Stadium next August.
Yeah, I didn't know that backstory. That's great, but yeah, he's really coming on, and I expect him to play a big role next year.
And
I know you're very busy. It's been a big weekend, and Declan, we're very lucky to have Jack on the show with us and to be reintroduced to our listening audience, in addition to introducing him. But the life of an athletic director is like a crying baby. He's up all 24 hours a day. It keeps you up. But Declan, we'll go ahead and have you ask a final question. And Jack, once again, we do thank you for your time in spending it with us in Dublin this afternoon.
Well, I was just going to pass on some information for Jack as to why there's such an interest in the sport in general, and not just the Notre Dame team. We've been watching NFL football on TV over here since the early 1980s, so we've an affinity with the sport from that standpoint. It seems to be a cousin of rugby, a sport we're very familiar with, and also as well as that, we have, of course, the connection with the college as well, with the being founded by Irish priests.
That's right, and just be sure when you're watching those NFL games that you're focused on all of the Notre Dame players who are in the league. There are over 30 of them, and a lot of them are real stars in the league. So as you're rooting for your favorite NFL team, be sure and look for the Notre Dame players on those teams.
We certainly will. Jack, so thank you so much for joining us on today's program, and hopefully, if all things are equal, we might get to meet you in Dublin in 2020.
That would be great, and happy holidays to all of our great friends in Ireland.
And to everybody in the US as well, especially the players and staff of the Notre Dame football program.
Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you very much. Len, thank you so much for bringing Jack to us, and also for your usual contribution to this show.
Well, we've got a big basketball game coming up next week, as Notre Dame will be down in Indianapolis to take on the Indiana Hoosiers and the Crossroads Classic, and then right after that, it's the bowl game, and so I'll definitely be bringing reports and talking with you, Declan. And once again, thank you for your time this afternoon, and we say go Irish in the United States, and a Merry Christmas to everybody listening in Dublin.
Thank you so much, Len. We may get a chance to talk to you next week if at all possible, and we might get you to do your favourite sporting memories of the year.
I will do that. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
And that brings our Notre Dame report to a close.